Hello everyone and welcome back to another Java episode. Today we are moving on to episode 5 and let's get this show on the road with the coding solution from last episode. So if you guys were not there, make sure you drop by, go watch it. This is what you had to do. You had to declare the 3 integers, compare them, and stuff like that. So here is the solution. I declared the 3 numbers right here. We initialized them to 5. And then here is my logical AND statement. I'm checking if number 1 is equal to number 2, and if number 2 is equal to number 3. That is known as the transitive property in geometry. So that should print true since they're all 5. And looking down here, it is true. So that is the coding solution. All right, so I'm on a blank template here. All right, so we want to do public class, and we're going to do something called loops here. We're going to call it just loops. All right, and then public static void main string args, and there you guys are. That is our template, our nice looking template. We're looking clean, and remember, just compile that and save it. We're looking good. We're looking great. So what is loops? Let's get into it. Let's figure out what we got here. We got something. We got 3 different types of loops here. We got the for loop. We got the while loop. Wow, if I can spell. And we got the do while loop. That is the 3 types of loops that we will be looking at, okay? So why do we even need loops? What's the point of them, you might be asking? Not Fruit Loops, that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the Cheerios or the other type of loops that you find anywhere else. All right, so why would we want to use a loop? Maybe you wanted to print something like this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like something like this, right? We want to print the numbers 0 through 5, and you can print them out just in one line, like system.out.print, right? We're trying to get this to look perfectly, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I were to compile that, and if I were to run it, I got it, looking great. But now if somebody were to tell you, do that to 100. I don't want to be here going 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's going to take you way too long, right? It's going to take a lot longer than we need. So instead, you can do something called for, open up parentheses, and then open up the braces, just like this, right? So inside the parentheses here, you're going to type this along with me. It may not make sense right away, and that's okay, all right? That it's okay. So we're going to do int I equals 0, semicolon, I is less than. We want a max value here, right? We want to make sure. We're going to put 6 in here, okay? You'll see why. Okay, and then semicolon, I plus plus. That is the line there on line 10. What's going on here? I'll explain it. It's all right. It is all right. So what we're doing first is we're declaring an integer called I and assigning it a value of 0. We've done that before, right? We've done int I equals 0. We've done that before. Next, we're using less than here. I is less than 6. So this loop will run as long as I is less than 6. And remember, we just declared I over here, and it was 0. So I is 0 less than 6. That is true. That means it will start running. And what does this next thing over here do? I plus plus. What that means is we're adding 1 to I every single time it runs through the coding here. So it does stuff in here. Boom. Now it's going to run through this again. Is I less than 0? It is. Let's add 1. Let's do it again. All right, we declared it. Is it less than 6? It is. And then we're going to add 1. And then it's going to keep doing that. Okay. So that is what's going on here. So that's basically what is happening. That means once it hits 6, after it's trying to do 6, is 6 less than 6? It's not. That means it hits its maximum and it stops right there. So let me just show you that this works. So you're going to do system.out.print, because we want all the numbers on the same line. And what are we going to print here? We're going to print the letter I. Why? Because it's changing, right? That's what we're adding 1 to. If it starts off at 0, and we want it to end right before 6, end right before 6. That's the goal. If we're compiling it, compiled, completed, and run it, boom, we got it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got it perfectly. And if we did want to add the spaces, just like how I had in the example, you would add plus and then a space, and then running it, boom, just how we wanted it in the solution above. All right, so that's the for loop. That is one case of when you use the for loop. Let's use the while loop now, okay? So a while loop is an infinite loop, right? So for loops are usually made when you know how many iterations you want to complete. When you have a set idea, you have a maximum value and a minimum value, right? You want to know exactly how many times to run it. But a while loop will keep running. It'll continuously run while a condition is met. We've just talked about conditional statements, so it's perfect time to introduce what a while loop is for. So now, if you're playing a video game and you're alive, you want to keep running that game while you're alive. The moment you die, you're going to stop the game, game over, it's over. So that means your game on Snake, let's just say, the JavaScript Snake, you're going to keep moving alive and eating all those different jelly beans or whatever the heck you want to call them, those grapefruits, and you're going to keep growing bigger while you're alive. So if I go in here, you can make a while, open up parentheses again, and then do the braces. So you want to put in any Boolean statement up here, right? So above it, let's just declare a Boolean statement. We're going to call it is alive. Okay, and we're going to set it equal to true. So while is alive equals true, then we're going to do some code here. So let's print out, and then we're just going to say I'm alive. So I'm just going to show you what happens here, okay? You don't have to run this yourself. Just watch what happens when I run it. If I compile it and run it, it prints out a million times and your computer is going to go crazy. Why is it doing that? Because it's always alive. Alive is always equal to true. So it's just going to keep running, and eventually your computer will crash. That is how you crash your computer. I do not recommend it. Do not run it yet. It's not fun. So what we need to do in here is have something happen here, right? We can do is alive equals false if we want. Compile it and run it. What happens here? It only ran one time. I'm alive. It only ran one time because it's true. Prints this out. We're setting it to false. It checks again. Is it true? It's not. So we're going to stop running. So what cases would you do this with? Usually if you're doing something with user input or anything like that, that the user will change, that's when it's going to happen while that's happening. So there's a lot of user input cases that you'll see while loops being used. That's why 90% of the time you'll probably be using a for loop, because you know the set range of what you're doing. While loops are usually with some type of user input. That's usually the cases I find myself using it, and that's probably the best times you'll see it being used, or if on a screen, loading screen and such. So that is the while loop. Now let's look at the do while loop, okay? Some of you guys might be wondering, what the heck does this mean? It looks just like the same thing. So let's try it out here. We're gonna do another Boolean, and let's call it, let's just call it facts. All right, facts, and we're gonna call it true, because why not? It's true. And a do while loop is do, okay, and then you want to open up the braces, while, open up the nice parentheses, and like that. So that is the syntax of a do while loop. We're going to do this code while this is true. Oops, sorry, I don't know why I added those. It's literally just like that. My bad. I don't know what I'm doing myself. So that is basically how it looks. All right, and it's giving me an error because I didn't type anything in it. So while facts is not equal to true, we're going to use that logical not case. Okay, that is what we want to see. And then we're going to print out here system.out.print line hello. All right, so I'm going to compile this. It runs, but hold up, before we run this, what's going on here? We're saying do this stuff while facts is not equal to true. Okay, so actually really quickly, I'm going to change this to false really quick. Why? Because that means it's going to meet the condition of this, and we're going to run it. It says hello, 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 and it breaks your computer again. But if I change this back to true, as we originally had it, and I compile it, that means this shouldn't run, correct? Right? Because it's false. That means this isn't met. This isn't met, right? But here is what is crazy about the do while loop. If I run it, it says hello. So what is going on here? This is what's crazy about a do while loop. In a do while loop, this code will run no matter what. No matter what. This, even though this isn't true on line 32, this code will run. A do while loop always iterates one time no matter what. You can't stop it. It's inevitable. inevitable. Jeez. All right, that's what happens with the do while loop. It always runs no matter what. Maybe you can see this in some cases of some GUIs. You might see that they want to enter your input. You might see this in surveys and such, right? You're gonna enter your information, and if you're not meet the case, then all right, don't run the code. And that's sometimes some iterations. I know that's probably a terrible example, but do while loops are really rare. You probably won't be using it a lot. Most of the time it'll just be a while loop that you're using it with, but that is the do while loop. You might use it, who knows. I just thought I'd get you guys used to it. All right, so that is everything I got today for loops and such. I'm gonna give you guys a coding challenge, and let's go see how you do with that. All right, so here's your challenge. You're gonna declare a variable named sum and initialize it to 0. Okay, then you're gonna print hello on a separate line while sum is less than 10. Every time you print hello, add 2 to the sum. All right, so if you guys do not know already, you're gonna be putting this in a while or a do while loop, whichever you prefer, and just bring the solution to next episode. And that is everything I got for you today, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you later.